My life has been enriched because of knowing Joe Riley, and I think, in my estimation, he will be noted for years to come as the greatest mayor in the history of the U.S. Joe was just a godsend to the Lowcountry. His leadership skills really outshone anybody else. He didn't just look at Charleston, he looked at the entire Lowcountry. All of us learned a lot from Joe in the leadership class that we went through called Hugo. This was the first realization that no matter where you lived in the Lowcountry, you were directly affected when there was a major turnover in anywhere in the Lowcountry. Joe was a great asset in working as a tri-county to bring new jobs in, being systematic in how we go after any kind of job you can get those first years. I would hate to be the person following 40 years of Joe Riley. He has been, in my estimation, one of the greatest leaders of any city in the history of this country. And he does not demand respect, he commands respect. He earns every bit of it.
All of Charleston owe you, and all of the Charleston County owe you so much. We love you, Joe Riley. You know, when I was a young lad in the 60s, most of King Street was dying off. And it was really the building of Charleston Place, Mayor Riley's vision that we had to have a grand hotel on a proper scale for our town, really began the revitalization of King Street as we know it today. I was 20 years old, and I was renting a space on Market Street. And I saw all these new visitors, and I was the guy sitting there renting the bicycle and renting the moped, and you could just see it, you could sense it, you could smell it, you could feel it, that something was happening. So when people say, what did Joe Riley mean in this town? I rented that block for $100 a month. That block is worth $100 million today.
At the end of the day, it's all about making the world a little bit better than what you found it. And Joe Riley can definitely say that he left this community better than he found it. Mayor Riley has been light years ahead of most everyone else in South Carolina when it comes to new urbanism, when it comes to creating quality growth and transportation. The great thing about Mayor Riley, people have this impression that it's all about him and it's all about Charleston, you know, in his city. And that's not the case. He's a regional thinker. CARTA, 526, I-26, the push improvements he's pushed for that, half-cent sales tax. He didn't want more than his fair share. He lives, breathes, and sleeps Charleston. And Joe Riley set a tone for this community over the last 40 years that we care about each other, that we love each other. We might not always agree, but we'll agree to disagree.
Thank you, Mayor Riley, for your 40 years of service to Charleston and Charleston County. You have given us the All-American City, and for that, we say thank you.
Mayor Riley, I want to congratulate you on 40 years of great service. This community will miss your leadership, but I hope you don't go anywhere. I understand you're going to be at the Citadel, so please keep the same phone number because I still will be calling you for advice and for help. When you say Mayor Riley, you know, he's a United States mayor. Everybody knows Mayor Riley. It has been a pleasure working with Mayor Riley over the past 7 years as chairman. Mayor Riley was a champion of, you know, consolidation with the 911 dispatch center. We have done some projects on the B Street, drainage and revamping of the B Street. You know, we've done Glenn McConnell Parkway. You know, we have done so much, Bees Ferry Road, and we worked together on 526, you know, to get it this far. Working with him, you learn a lot, and you have to have patience because Mayor Riley is a patient man. You know, he's trying to get the African American Museum up and running, which I think would be a great thing for tourism as well. Mayor Riley, even when you leave, you're gonna have to be a champion. I'm gonna look right at you in this camera and say, we need your help, don't give up on us.
Needless to say, you have been a tremendous leader for this city, for this community, for the entire state. And all of us are the better for it, and I just want to thank you for all that you've done and wish you the best of luck. Mayor Riley, needless to say, was intimately involved in that campaign. He provided a vision for the campaign, and he had the capacity to sort of bring all of this together and to bring all of these, all of the folks who were interested in the issue together around this campaign. Once he decides that he needs to choose a certain path, once he decides that that something is good for the community, it's good for the region, he really takes and makes every effort to bring about the result he believes to be appropriate. Mayor Riley is generally seen as someone who, who's an honest person, who doesn't have hidden agendas. Pretty much what you see with Mayor Riley is what you get.
I can't think of a man I admire more than Joe Riley. He's one of the most decent people I've ever met, and the city's going to miss him. I was working in New Jersey at the time, and my phone rings, and it's an 843 area code, and I picked it up and said, "This is Joe Riley. I'm the mayor of Charleston," and he welcomed me to Charleston. He said, "Look forward to meeting me," and I thought it was very kind of him to take the time to do that, me being a newcomer. But I've learned since that that's just what he does. When he took me to the White House, and he had taken advantage of some time he had with President Obama, which he could discuss anything that was important to the city, in that time, and he chose to talk about the Deepening Project. The thing I would say is that Mayor Riley's legacy is this city, and the beauty of the city and the success of the city, and I really attribute that to his leadership, his really selfless and capable leadership.
Mayor Riley, I just want to thank you for all of your support, your friendship. You've been incredibly helpful in our success over the years. We're going to miss you, and thank you so much for making this city and People Matter a great, great place. We have over 250 technology companies now in the Charleston area, from the very, very large companies, the publicly traded companies, all the way to two guys in a broom closet with a server on a milk crate and a hope and a dream. It was remarkable, the vision that he had early on. I mean, if you think about 15 years ago where we were as a tech economy as a whole in a macro environment, it was very nascent. And to have that vision very, very early on really is a big testament to him as a pioneer. It was a very forward-thinking idea when they started the Charleston Digital Corridor almost 15 years ago, which is they made the conscious decision to forge a public-private relationship to really empower and better the IT industry. About 10 years ago, we had a boat. We were in the Christmas parade, and we put an AC/DC cover band on the boat, and we decided to go in front of the judges right there at the waterfront park, and we scared the kids and played Hell's Bells and everything else, and we were banned from the Christmas parade for 5 years. And this was before we had started People Matter. And so it's kind of interesting how our relationship has come full circle from a time when I had almost ruined the Charleston Christmas parade to now we have a tremendous friendship. He's been an incredible supporter of People Matter, incredible supporter of the IT community, and he's somebody that I really call a friend.
Mayor Riley, on behalf of the entire hospitality community, thank you for what you've done to make Charleston, South Carolina, the #1 destination in the United States. When we were first named the #1 city by Condé Nast Traveler magazine, it was obviously a big secret. I had the benefit of going down to City Hall and waiting until there was a break in the schedule so I could tell him. And to see him light up and to see how excited he was for what the community had accomplished was really fun. I've always admired his leadership because he does 3 things in an outstanding way. First, he always seeks very wise counsel. Second, he has a passion for whatever he's doing. And lastly, he takes the long view. He said many times that this isn't about 5 years, this isn't about 10 years, this is about 30 years, this is about 50 years, and the legacy that we'll leave.
Mayor Riley, thank you for leaving your trademark of excellence on our metro area. One of the greatest successes that Mayor Riley has had is that he's both a visionary and a master at executing. He is our best economic development ambassador because people know things are going to be done extremely well here.
I was thinking about the Ravenel Bridge, and when we were looking at how to fund it and how to build it, and there was so much resistance among some of the folks involved at adding the bike and pedestrian lane, and he was adamant. And I think it's a good example of how he's always been, if a project is worth doing, then it's worth doing in the best way it can be.
I remember the first time I had a chance to sit down with Joe, and he was talking about the Gilliard and the fact that it was going to be acoustically the finest performing arts center in the world. How many mayors, number one, have the guts to say it's going to be the best in the world, and number two, then go out and do it?
Mayor Riley, I can't thank you enough for the number of years you have put into this position. You've given your life, you have taken your wife and your children along with you. He knows how to speak to people, he knows how to encourage people, he knows the right information to bring to the table to help us, get the messages across that we need to as we're developing and working on projects that need to come to this region. He's been really good at being able to create things through the years that have huge economic impact. Look at the Spoleto Festival, look at Food and Wine Festival. These are all things that happen downtown. And they may not be viewed as economic development, but in my mind they are, because those are all things that we can use to showcase our region. And it's because of Mayor Riley and his relationship with our family, I think, that the legacy of the work of the aquarium continues. Jerry was extremely dedicated. I was dedicated through the education work, and now my son is dedicated. But we've all had to work with Mayor Riley on that project along the way. But anytime we had projects that needed his input, Mayor Riley was always there, and he continues to be there today, helping us with the Tri-County Cradle to Career, making sure that we're going to have a workforce for our future.
Having had the opportunity to work with Joe Riley, or Joe, as we all affectionately call him, as a young man building a business and rearing a family, being involved with Chamber and now serving you on council, it's hard to say that you're going to leave us all wanting more. I saw him doing Hugo, many of us did. We've seen him through the Charleston 9 with the fire department. It sounds amazing that after 39.6 years, he may have reached his finest hour in guiding our town in the aftermath of such a tragedy, of the murders of the lovely people at Mother Emanuel. The press asked the question, is this a hate crime? And Mayor Riley cut across. And he said, look, when a white male walks into an African-American church, sits and prays for over an hour, pulls out a gun and murders 9 wonderful people, that's hate. All of Charleston was watching, our state, our nation, and this was an international story. I think his finest hour, we are seeing it, believe it or not, now.